There's a particular kind of loneliness that can happen inside a long relationship. Someone looks at you with complete confidence and says, "That's not who you are." But it's who you are now. Maybe an old plan no longer fits. Maybe a need has changed. Maybe you finally name a boundary you couldn't name when the relationship began. The person beside you remembers you accurately, but only in the past tense. Then the paradox arrives. If you change, someone you love may feel that the person they committed to is disappearing. If you never allow each other to change, love can become a demand to keep performing an older self. So, how do two people stay loyal to what they built without trapping each other inside it? You keep meeting the person in front of you. And when something important changes, ask three questions. What changed? What's still true? What needs updating? What changed? What's still true? What needs updating? Those questions won't guarantee that the relationship continues. They can help two willing people, meet current reality without confusing understanding with agreement. Remember, intimacy is not finished knowledge. In the book OLNE, The Intimacy Model of Relationships, IMR, describes intimacy in terms of how well people know and understand one another. The book also treats knowing another person as a continuous practice, not a completed task. That knowledge has to coexist with boundaries, autonomy, and each person's independent identity, choices, and goals. That changes what familiarity means. Years together may give you history, patterns, private language, and reliable knowledge. But history doesn't turn a person into a completed file. A preference that was real at 25 may not be real at 35, or may not be the same at 35, if anything close to it at all. A promise made under one set of circumstances may need an honest conversation when those circumstances change. Even something still true may be true for different reasons now. Genuine interest means staying present, listening, and asking follow up questions based on what the person is actually saying. Be clear about the distinction between getting to know someone and campaigning to change that person. That distinction is essential. Continuing to know someone doesn't mean managing their development, it means letting the current person answer instead of forcing an old answer onto them. Let me give you an extreme example, an extreme contrast that makes this easier to see. In Sam Vaknin's account of narcissistic pathology, there is a term referred to as snapshotting. Snapshotting turns a living person into a static internal representation, something stable and unchanging. When the living person develops autonomy and diverges from that snapshot, the divergence can provoke anxiety and aggression inside Vaknin's model. This is a pathological contrast, not a diagnosis of ordinary partners. Relying on an old assumption, feeling surprised by change, or struggling to adjust doesn't prove narcissism or any hidden diagnosis. Most of us don't need a diagnosis to explain the smaller version of the problem. We can simply stop checking. We can remember what someone wanted, then turn the memory into an identity. We hear new information as inconsistency because it conflicts with the picture we already trust. The picture may have been fair once. The failure and problem domain is refusing to let current reality revise it. So let me give you an example with Mara and Ellie. Mara and Ellie have been together for years. Early in the relationship, both wanted to leave the city, move closer to family, and raise children there. It wasn't a casual fantasy. They discussed neighborhoods, work, timing, and the kind of home they hoped to build. Over time, Mara's desire changed. After sustained reflection, Mara no longer wants children. Mara doesn't announce that the old agreement has disappeared. Mara doesn't take an irreversible step and explain it afterward. Mara brings the change to Ellie before a breach and says, I need to tell you something that may change what's possible between us. I don't want children anymore. Ellie could answer from the old picture and say, that isn't who you are. You've always wanted this. The first sentence tries to overrule Mara's present reality with Mara's past. The second sentence may be historically accurate, but it can't settle what Mara wants now. Mara's change is also not automatically growth. Ellie's consistency is not automatically stagnation. Those labels would make one person enlightened and the other person defective before the real conflict has even been heard. Change is information. Consistency is information. The question is what each person wants now, what each person can now consent to, and whether those realities can share a future. Ellie listens without pretending agreement. That's difficult because listening may feel like standing still while a shared future changes shape. But accurate listening doesn't require Ellie to celebrate the change, suppress grief, or surrender the desire to become a parent. Understanding Mara's change doesn't require Ellie to accept its consequences or consent to new terms. This is the central distinction of this episode. Mara can update Mara's own desire. Ellie can update Ellie's understanding of Mara, but neither person can update their shared agreement alone. A shared agreement changes only through the consent of everyone bound by it. So, going back, the first question is simple. What changed? It's not who betrayed the plan. It's not who became difficult or what diagnosis explains this. Ask for the current reality in observable, speakable terms. The book Oelani advises asking what changed and comparing actions with intentions rather than relying on promises alone. Mara can say, I once wanted to raise children. I don't want that now. I know this affects a future we plan together, and I'm telling you before either of us makes the next decision. Ellie can ask responsive questions based on what Mara actually said. It could sound like this. Is this uncertainty or is this a decision? Do you want me to listen right now or are you asking us to decide something tonight? Is there more you wanted me to understand? Mara says, it's a decision about what I want. It isn't a decision about what you have to do. I'm not asking you to solve this tonight. I'm asking you to know where I actually stand before we keep planning around on an answer I no longer have. That answer gives Ellie something precise and specific. The change is Mara's desire about parenthood. It's not proof that Mara never loved Ellie, secretly planned to leave, or lied in every earlier conversation. Ellie can grieve the future they imagined without inventing a hidden history to explain the present. Mara is allowed to answer. Mara is also allowed to protect private reflection that Mara isn't ready to disclose. Curiosity doesn't create unlimited access, remember. It isn't interrogation, surveillance, compulsory disclosure, or indefinite indecision. Ellie can respect Mara's privacy and still decide that the information available isn't enough for Ellie to make a commitment. A changed feeling is information, not an automatic new agreement. Mara's honesty gives Ellie something real to respond to. It doesn't obligate Ellie to accept a child-free future. It doesn't turn a disclosure into a jointly chosen direction. And it doesn't require an immediate answer while both people are absorbing what the change could mean. The goal isn't to agree faster. The goal is to stop arguing with an outdated version of what of Mara long enough for Ellie to make an honest decision about the person and the choice now in front of Ellie. The second question, what's still true? This question protects the conversation from a different distortion. One major change can make the entire relationship feel false. Ellie may wonder whether every earlier conversation was a lie. Mara may fear that changing one desire erases every promise, every year of care, and every shared value they've had. So they name what remains. Mara still loves Ellie. Ellie still loves Mara. Both still value honesty. Both still want the other person to have a life that isn't built on silent resentment. Their history was real. The plan they made may also have been real when they made it. But what remains true can't be used to cancel what changed. You still love me doesn't become, therefore you must want children. We built a life together doesn't automatically equal, therefore you owe me the future I expected. Continuing care can exist beside a conflict that care alone can't solve. Stability and adaptation can coexist when enduring care or values remain, while support, logistics, boundaries, or agreements are revised by consent. Sometimes the stable truth is love. Sometimes it's respect. Sometimes it's a boundary. Sometimes what remains true is the incompatibility itself. For example, Ellie can say, I still love you. I also still want to become a parent. I don't know how to give up that future without giving up something central to my life. Mara can answer, I hear that. I don't want you to abandon that desire to keep me, and I can't promise to become a parent to keep you. So, what happened? Now they're no longer fighting about who is allowed to be who they are. They're facing what is actually true for both people. The third question is what needs updating? Sometimes the answer is support, logistics, a boundary, an expectation, or the form of relationship. The book OLNE says people and relationships aren't static and that changes in relationship form should be understood and agreed through open communication. It recommends explicit desires and boundaries, regular review of agreements, and collaborative renegotiation as circumstances and feelings change. For Mara and Ellie, the update can't be a compromise in which they become half parents. They may need time, separate reflection, and more than one conversation. But eventually, the honest responsibilities narrow. Ellie can consent to a life without children. Mara can consent to becoming a parent. Or they can accept that the future each person wants is incompatible with continuing the relationship in its current form. Neither person owes a yes. A partner may refuse a proposed update. Honest incompatibility doesn't prove that either person failed at the relationship or their failure to themselves as a person. Meeting the person Mara became may mean Ellie loves Mara clearly and still leaves. Very important to recognize you can love someone without being partnered with them. Meeting the person Ellie continues to be may mean Mara understands Ellie fully and doesn't ask Ellie to sacrifice parenthood. The ending can be, or rather, the ending can preserve dignity without preserving the relationship format. These questions only work when both people are free to answer, free to refuse, or leave the conversation. An update applies going forward. It can't erase deception, coercion, broken agreements, or harm that already happened. And where disclosure could trigger intimidation, stalking, violence, sexual coercion, credible threats, or similar danger, don't use this practice. Choose distance, safety, or confidential support instead. A harmed person owes no conversation, forgiveness, or chance for repair. So, across this series on being known, we have been building one answer to a human longing. How do I let someone know me without disappearing inside their expectations? Remember what we talked about in the previous episodes? You stop treating a picture as the person. You let honesty be inspired rather than forced. You check what words mean instead of assuming shared meaning. You validate a feeling without turning it into an assignment. You allow named space without using distance as punishment. You receive vulnerability without weaponizing it later. And then you keep going. You don't turn yesterday's understanding into today's cage. Being known isn't the same as being permanently predictable. Knowing someone isn't the same as processing a finished explanation. Love doesn't require two people to remain compatible through every change. It asks it asks for enough honesty to meet current reality, enough autonomy to let each person answer freely, and enough courage to accept the answer without rewriting it. So choose one stale assumption about someone you love. Remember what the book OL&E says: a relationship stands to become better always when there's less presumption. Don't confront the person with your conclusion. Invite a voluntary conversation using the three questions. Then listen to the answers that are actually given. What changed? What's still true? What needs updating? What changed? What's still true? What needs updating? What changed? What's still true? What needs updating? Update your understanding when reality asks you to. Update shared agreements only by mutual consent. And when the truth reveals incompatibility, don't turn clarity into failure. Sometimes, knowing each other more honestly changes the form of the relationship. Keep meeting the person in front of you. Let that person meet who you are now. Build from what is true, not only from what was true when you first learned each other's names. In the book OL&E, check out the chapter on relationships management, particularly ORGASM, ongoing relational growth and sentiment meetings. This is Roan. This is the end of How to Be Known series. I'll see you in the next series. Remember, nothing else is needed. You are loved. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
You fold the map 3 times, I take the long way home. You call it careful, I call it overblown. You want the morning, I love the night. You read the fine print, I read your eyes. I can hear your reasons without making them mine. You shake your head, I just laugh and say, you see the fire, I see the light. We see it different. one chance. Understanding doesn't ask us to surrender who we are. We can disagree and still know where we stand. You bring the thunder, I bring the shine. You pull me your way, I pull you mine. You see the fire, I see the light. We see it different. You want the morning, I love the night. Same heart, different rhythm. I can hear your reasons without making them mine. Different answers, same dance tonight. Two perspectives, one chance. Two perspectives, one chance. Oh, two perspectives. Oh, you see the fire, I see the light. We see it different, different, different. You want the morning, I love the night. Same heart, different rhythm. I can hear your reasons without making them mine. Different answers, same dance tonight. Two perspectives, one chance. Two perspectives, one chance.